melt is when I'm ocean waves.
Well, today on Nova Legends podcast, I'm going to finish our review of the preview of the 23-24 season with NOVAhoops Chris Jollay. We did all the districts yesterday. We have one left to go, which is the Patriot women's district, a girls district. It's been dominated the last few years by Robinson, TJ Dade, coach, a long tradition of great Robinson coaches, Addison Carley, Dwight Trimmer. And their post player, Georgia Simonsen, who seems like she's been in high school for 10 years. She's been dominating for so long. And they edged West Potomac for the crown last year. This Patriot was almost as good in girls, at least on the top end, as it was in boys last year. Brian Colligan, really nice dude, coaches over at West Potomac. So what's going on in the Patriot district this year, Chris?
Well, I was looking at it just last night. It's weird that we totally bypassed that district. I knew something felt wrong in my head when we were talking about the girls.
Yeah,
I should add also to our conversation yesterday, I found out Sadie Shores, who transferred to Paul VI yesterday, is going back to Woodgrove. We had talked about kids going, public to private and then back to public. That's what she's doing out there. So they'll be a lot better, obviously, because of that. But in the Patriot District, it's going to be a very strong year. Now, it's always a strong district, but I think this year will be even stronger, despite the fact a lot of programs are missing a little bit of senior star power. West Potomac, Mary Prater, the great point guard they had, Robinson with Caroline Shimp and Amelia Simonsen. Those were very good players. But I went down the list last night, and most programs return most of their kids. And there are a couple transfers, as we discussed yesterday. Lake Braddock had transferred to Bullis, as you mentioned. But listen to this. Seniors graduating last year: Fairfax 4, Robinson 3, West Potomac 3, Woodson 4, SoCo 2, Lake Braddock 5, West Springfield 4. So these programs are getting back the majority of their kids, and there is some star power. And at Robinson, the big one is Georgia Simonsen. Like you said, it does seem like she's been around 10 years. She's only a junior still.
Wow.
And obviously a force in the low post, a dominant post player who can do lots of other things too. She will reject your shots with the utmost ferocity too. And Robinson's been carried by their defense actually in recent years, just as much as their offense. I saw a game versus West Potomac last year. I think it was 37-29, just vicious defense on both sides. Robinson is going to be very good again this year, led by Georgia Simonsen. And they have a lot of other good players returning as well. Elizabeth Berry, McKenna Huff, some of those really good defenders that can also score. So they're the favorites, but, Woodson is going to be better. Woodson was solid last year. They're going to be better this year. They return most of their firepower. West Potomac is loaded. Even though they lost Prater, they have a ton of young talent, a ton of guards that can get up and down the floor and shoot. They're going to be very dangerous, as is usually the case. And then Lake Braddock is going to be very good. They have a Player of the Year candidate, even with Georgia Simonsen in the district, in Sarah Pritz, who's been unstoppable, basically, in the preseason, from what I understand. She's a senior now. She was very physical even when she was a sophomore, won District Player of the Year when she was a sophomore. To give you an idea, she's now a senior. There aren't going to be many teams that are going to be able to stop her. South County is a big dark horse. They only lost 2 seniors. They lost one of their talented freshmen to transfer, but they get most of their team back. They've got a new coach, Hayfield's old coach, who is very experienced. So they could be a very good factor this year. West Springfield lost one of their kids to O'Connell, one of their bigs, but they returned most of their team. And obviously, Billy Gibson is a great coach. I look at this district as being better than last year's Patriot district, which is kind of scary.
Well, that's saying a lot. And it sounds like lots of great coaches in there with Gibson, Coach Towle, Leah Towle, Liz Reed from Lake Braddock. We mentioned Brian Colligan. But I did want to say something about TJ Dade. Last year I gave out a sportsmanship award, and he did something that in this day and age of uber competitiveness, it was so refreshing to see. They were playing, was it Oakton, or it was Oakton in the state quarterfinals, I believe. And one of the Oakton players had a recital, and she could not attend the beginning of the game. She would have gotten there probably in the fourth quarter, or maybe sometime in the second half. And and they have all these rules about what time games have to start anyway at state. It's ridiculous because it's not positive in that they try to work around if Madison's playing in two places. They're not trying to help that out. So it's really difficult to move these games anyway. Anyway, TJ Dade was willing to move the game so that player could attend her recital and still make the state game. And, obviously Robinson was favorite, but still in this day and age, you can see a coach saying, look, that's just one player. You have to be, it's next person up. And for TJ to do that, it's just Coach Dade to do that. It's amazing. And I want to reiterate what a nice gesture that was. I'd like to see more of that in sports.
Yeah, hopefully TJ got dinner out of it at least or something, but he probably didn't because he's that kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a great guy. He's been going at it a long time. I think I mentioned yesterday, Tony Bentley is one of the guys I want to see a state title before he hangs it up. TJ Dade is another guy I'd love to see a state title before he hangs it up. It's very much in his goals. I know that. He coached at TJ for a long time before he came to Robinson. Obviously, it's very difficult to bring TJ to a state title, but it's not so difficult right now to bring Robinson to a state title. I say not so difficult. It's still very difficult coming out of this region. But the short of it is you got to root for TJ and you got to root for Robinson. I'm a Robinson. I tell people all the time, I'm highly biased towards Robinson. I coach there, both boys and girls. I love the school. I'm highly biased towards Robinson, and I would love to see them win a state title.
Yeah, me as well. I went there. But anyway, look, this has been great. I'm glad we were able to round it off with a very, very competitive, important district. In terms of coaches, I do think that Carlos Poindexter, not that he has anything to prove, he's going to prove once again what a great coach he is this year. I think he's going to really surprise people. It's going to take some time, but I think by the end of the season, people aren't going to want to face Hayfield again because Carlos is that good a coach, one of the best probably in history of Northern Virginia. So anyway, Chris, this is great. Thanks again for doing this. Always love to have you on. And again, let's do this hopefully again during the season sometime.
Anytime, my friend.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Chris, for jumping back on.
All right, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take care.